What's up, Met fans? Welcome back. Talking Mets and Rob. How's everybody doing? We have so much to get into, everybody. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we've been waiting for, guys. Don't forget, guys, please hit on that like button. If you're new to the channel, say what's up in the chat. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. We are live. Mets free agent frenzy. There's no doubt about it. Within 6 hours on Friday, the Mets made three big signings. I'll tell you which ones I like, which ones I'm a little iffy about, but there's no doubt about it. The New York Mets are spending money, baby. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, guys. I see everybody in the comment. I'll get to you guys in a little bit. Oh, I'm just excited. You know, I woke up for work and I saw the Marte move. The signing was perfect. And what's even more funnier to me is that I was going to I was trying I wanted to go live really badly as soon as it happened, but I was going to work. It was just hard. It wasn't easy. So I was like, you know what? Let me come around 1 o'clock, talk about the moves, talk about the possible rumors that are possibly coming up. There's a lot of rumors about Baez and the Mets apart on money. It seems like the years are they're on board with, but the money is the issue with Baez and the Mets. The good news is that give me 1 second, guys. There we go. The good news is that if the Mets don't get Baez, and with the three signings that they already made, it gives them so many options to move to other things. Like they can't get Baez, they can pivot to Bryant. They they can't get Bryant. It's looking like the Mets are focusing in on pitching. We'll get to that in a little bit as well. But as you see in the bottom of your screen, guys, don't worry. I will get to all your comments to see it flying in right now. Mets signed three players. Obviously, I hope you know. If you don't, breaking news. Starling Marte, Eduardo Escobar, and Mark Cahna. Those three guys, the Mets signed on Friday within a 6-hour range. Escobar was first, Cahna was second, and then all of a sudden, Starling Marte around midnight. Marte, they got him for 4 years, 78 million. You see it on the bottom of your screen. Eduardo Escobar, 2 years, 20. Excuse me. And Mark Cahna, 2 years, $26.5 million. Steve Cohen and the Mets in one day spent $124.5 million on three players, and they're not even close to being done. There is so many things that I want the Mets to do. And I told you in my video when it came to talking about what the Mets should do in free agency. And I said they need to spend money on position players and work on a trade or two to get pitching. It's looking like Max Scherzer is an interesting option. Gaussman is an option now. I'm not sure about Robbie Ray. That might be a third option for the Mets. But Scherzer and Gaussman are on the Mets radar. There is no doubt about it, guys. With the three signings, with Marte, Escobar, and Cahna, the signing that I like the most is Escobar. And I'll tell you the reason why. Granted, Marte is the best player out of all three of them. Obviously, there's no question about it. But the reason why I like Escobar so much is because he is a professional player. And what I mean by that is he comes every day, he plays, he's versatile, he can play second or third, puts the bat on the ball. He's not a big power guy, even though he has a decent amount of home runs, but he's not a big power guy, but he gets on base. He's just a professional ball player. And we finally got a third baseman or a second baseman that we know we can put in the lineup every day and he can perform. That's exactly what this Mets team needs, guys. Guys like that. And he's a good clubhouse guy. Anywhere he's been, he's a clubhouse favorite. As we know in years past, the chemistry on his team was absolutely garbage. Escobar should help that. No doubt about it. Cahna is kind of like iffy. I'm not going crazy over it, but let's be honest, he is an upgrade over Dominic Smith in the outfield if the Mets don't make no other moves, which I think they will. If the Mets don't make no other moves, and these are the 3 moves they make, and say another pitcher, you can pick your pitcher. And Cahna is your left fielder. Fine. I'm not going to worry about it because he could probably be almost as productive as Dominic Smith in the home run department and RBI department. He might be a little lower in average. If I'm not mistaken, he was a 230 hitter with the A's last year, so it's not great average. But again, you're not getting Cahna for his offensive prowess with the average. You get him for power, decent amount of RBIs, and very good defense. Plus, he could play the corner. He could play all over the outfield. He could play left, center, and right. Mostly the corner outfield, and occasionally play first base. Obviously, I said with Escobar, second and third base. But if you slot him in at third base, the Mets have interesting options because we don't know what's going to happen with Baez. I don't think the Mets are going to sign Baez. There was a few rumors out there. John Heyman posted it, stating that Baez is looking for 6 years, $200 million. I will not go that far with Javier Baez. $200 million, 6 years is not what I would do. If the Mets can't get sorry, I dropped my mic. If the Mets can't get a decent deal for Javier Baez, I think they need to pivot towards Chris Bryant, and I'll give you the reason why. The reason why is because Escobar can easily move over to second base, and Chris Bryant can be your third baseman. You got Nimmo in right or left, whichever one you want to do. Say it's right field. You got Marte in center. And if you want to keep Dominic Smith or you want Cahna every day in left field, you can do that. But as I said to you guys before, I wanted the Mets to spend money in free agency when it came to position players and work their way into a trade for either Luis Castillo or a big-time starting pitcher. I did a video about Castillo, which is in the description below. If you haven't seen it, click on that link below. But once again, guys, Mets, Marte, Escobar, and Cahna in 1 day, 6 hours on Black Friday. Steve Cohen had no problem throwing out the black card and spending the hard-earned money to make this team better. There is no doubt, guys, that the New York Mets are better today than they were 48 hours ago. No doubt about it, guys, and that's what I like. Another thing, with Starling Marte, there's some people, and I heard it on WFAN this morning while I was at work. The big thing with Marte, he is injury prone. There's no doubt about it. The last year and a half, he's been good with the Marlins and Oakland and some parts of Pittsburgh, but he's been injury prone. He had hamstring injuries and all that annoying stuff. And he is 33 years. He's going to be 33 years old when he steps in spring training for the New York Mets. But if out of the 4 years, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of a Curtis Granderson type of move. The reason why I say that, Granderson was around the same age, didn't have that big amount of speed that he had 5 years ago from his career. He was the center fielder, but he wasn't as quick in center field as he used to be. But he brought a presence and a demeanor to this team that I think Starling Marte will as well. And I think it's very similar to the Curtis Granderson signing of before the 2015 season. That's what I felt like it was. If you can get 2 really, really solid to great years from Starling Marte, and I mean 300 hitter, 15 home runs, 60 RBIs, 70 RBIs with 30 to 40 stolen bases in 2 out of the first 2 years of the contract, I can deal with him moving over to a corner outfield in 3rd and 4th year. But you got to remember, guys, I feel like the New York Mets realize, and with the negotiations with the collective bargaining agreement, they are actually looking at the possibility of having a DH. If you have a DH, you don't have to put Marte in center field every single day. You can DH him to take a little load off his legs at the age of 33. So that's another good sign as well. You can keep the bat in the lineup while shifting Nimmo in center field and then working your outfield for your corner outfield on certain days when you want to give Marte a rest in the outfield. So, guys, I'm going to say what's up to everybody. I see so many people here saying, what's up, everybody? I got to get to everybody because I see everybody here. Ron, AB, SWAT, Cole, Merlin, Nelson, Jose, RG, Christian, Hansel, Angel, Fernando. Let's see. Christian, Anxiety. Who else we got? Edwin, Andrew, and Roberto. All right, guys. So let me check all the comments because I haven't looked at most of them yet. Ron says, get Baez and pitching. I'm iffy on Baez, honestly. I'm still a Bryant 100%. I'd rather have Bryant over Baez. But again, I'm not going to complain on either one because they're both upgrades than what the Mets currently had at these positions. Cole, thank you. Yeah, I kind of made them that guitar beat myself. No, I did not play the guitar. I promise. It was a beat that I put together based on a guitar and some drums and a little bit of a monotone and all that fun stuff. Nelson, nope. I promise you, I wasn't. Hey, if I could have played the guitar, I would have been doing that live. I'll tell you that right now. RG, what's up? Christian, I don't know if Baez is next. I feel like the Mets are going to be firm in their price. Honestly, I don't think the Mets are going to go past 170 with Javier Baez, and I think that's basically what I think. 170 for 6 years, I think is perfectly fine. I don't think he's good enough. He is not the top shortstop. I don't think he's better than Correa, and I don't think he's better than Seager. So I don't think he should be getting close to anywhere near 200 million. I think 170 is the cutoff limit for me. So that's just what I think. And honestly, if you're going to go 200 million on Baez, I'd rather not give him that money and go with a trusted all-star in Chris Bryant. And now you have versatility all over. You got Chris Bryant that can play the infield and outfield. You got Escobar who can play second and third. You can mix and match your lineups any way you want. And especially when I talked about the Marte giving him rest if there's a DH to take the load off his legs. Chris Bryant can go to the outfield, put Nimmo in left. You got Bryant in right. Now you got the DH and Marte. You keep his bat, and you still have Escobar to work around in the infield as well. Now I want to get to the video that I did talking about the Luis Castillo deal and why I think these three signings mean a lot, especially Cahna and the Escobar signing, because what I told you in the Luis Castillo video, and if you haven't seen that video, guys, it's in the description below once again. When I came to these signings, right off the top of my head was the Mets can use Jeff McNeil or Dominic Smith and a top prospect to get Luis Castillo. That was the first thing I thought of when I heard all the signings. No doubt about it. Mindy, how you doing? Tanya, how you doing? Ross, how you doing? Joseph, what's up? That's exactly what I thought of. Because now you can use McNeil and Dominic Smith, or even JD Davis for that matter, in a big time package to get Luis Castillo. And because these guys are expendable now. Now, I do have a feeling the Mets are going to keep one of them, either JD Davis, Dominic Smith, or Jeff McNeil. Honestly, I don't know if the Mets want Jeff McNeil anymore. So it feels like Jeff McNeil is probably going to be in a package for somebody. And the same thing with Dom Smith. Like I said, Cahna, even though he's a right-handed bat, he is similar to Dominic Smith when it comes to the bat, except for average-wise. Even though, in all honesty, Dom Smith's probably a 260 hitter. So it's not much of a difference. Cahna is just an upgrade defensively in the corner outfield, in left field, if you want to replace Dominic Smith with him. So I still think the Mets are going to make a big move before the December 2nd deadline with the collective bargaining agreement next week. I don't know if it's going to be Scherzer. I don't know, Gausman. I doubt Robbie Ray is probably a long shot. But I do think the Mets are going to look at I think the Mets want Max Scherzer. There's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of, can the Mets get him to come to the East Coast? Because I think he wants to stay on the West Coast. But I am doing a video on Max Scherzer tomorrow, and it's going to be exactly what the amount I think you can get Scherzer to come to the East Coast and wear the orange and blue. That's the way I feel. Exactly the way I feel. All right, guys, let me check the comments really quick. Black Friday Frenzy, Roberto, yep. Jose, if they do not get Baez, who else are they going to get? Like I said, Chris Bryant. I think it's an option either way. Either Bryant or Baez is on the table, in my opinion. It doesn't matter to me. Again, I prefer Bryant, but at the end of the day, guys, either one is going to make this lineup better. So it's just that simple. It just makes sense. It works out in a way. And in all honesty, guys, if the Mets want to spend $200 million on Baez, I think even though it's Steve Cohen's money, he's got a lot of it. Who cares? I think you can get better bang for your buck giving Chris Bryant the $200 million plus than I would to give to Baez. Only because I think you can trust Chris Bryant because the back of his baseball card, he usually performs to that. Baez is iffy because you've seen it when Mets first got him. All he did was strike out, and then when he got hurt and came back later in August, he was more patient at the plate. He didn't strike out as much. He took his walks, and he was more selective. But is that the Baez we're gonna get, or we're gonna get the Baez we got when we first got him? So it's kind of like I don't want a question mark here, and I think it's smart money to go after Bryant, but we have to wait and see what's going to happen with Baez. It seems like the years are probably approved on both sides. The Mets agreed and Baez agreed. I think the years are fine with both of them. I think it's the amount of money. And like I said, I would not go past $170 million for Baez. I am willing to go over $170 million for Chris Bryant because I think he's a hell of a player. Baston, Montes, and Manea. That's interesting, actually, Ross. That's very interesting. Yeah, Tanya. Honestly, let me throw that up there. The son of, I think they will be because again, like I said earlier, I'm not sure if you heard Tanya, but Escobar can play second base as well. So that's why I don't think That's another reason why I don't think the Mets are going to overspend to bring back Baez because at the end of the day, they're not desperate for a second baseman anymore because Escobar can easily fill that spot and perform very well. And I feel like he's more of a professional and clubhouse guy than Baez is. And I just think it works better with the entire team. Sooner or later, you just have to let feelings go away and tell Lindor, hey, we're not spending this much money on a guy when we actually have a second baseman. And no doubt about it, Bryant can be an option. If the Mets don't sign Baez, I think they're going to worry about the pitching and they're going to try to get Chris Bryant. It's very quiet on the Chris Bryant front, only because I think he's waiting for a big time position player to sign, infielder, as in Baez or one of the shortstops. I think that's what he's waiting for to get like a price range of what the market is given, even though he is a utility player because he can play in almost every position. I think he's waiting for at least one big fish to sign, and then he can make the decision on how much he thinks he can be willing to get, even though he has an idea with his agent. Yeah, Edwin, exactly. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Gaussman. Honestly, I understand why people like him. It seemed like over the last 2 years he figures some stuff out, and maybe he just came into his own. He finally put everything together, and now he is the guy that everybody, or what he thought he should be. But again, with Gaussman, if you looked in the later part of the year last year and in the playoffs, he wasn't very good. Now that could be a lot of things. Too many innings, pitching too much. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was pitch selection. I don't know. Maybe it was the nerves in the playoffs. I really don't know. But he didn't pitch well in later part of the second half into the playoffs. I don't really know what that means, but I would worry about Gausman a little bit because he's been around a little while and he finally put it together the last year and a half. So can you just say, yeah, he figured it out? It's worth it. This guy can get a lot of money. And that's including Robbie Ray. That's including Max Scherzer, Stroman. It's funny. When you saw the tweets the other day, or even today, actually, I think it was John Heyman. And, I don't know if you guys heard, but nobody, I don't think in the comments talked about John Gray. That's another interesting thing that the Mets are involved in as well. So I think it's smart for the Mets to spend the money for pitching, but don't go crazy, because I really think if you can make a trade to get Luis Castillo, and I told you the guys already, now you have options with the 3 signings on Friday. You can use Dominic Smith, Jeff McNeil in a package, or one of them, 2 of them, I don't know, with a prospect to get Luis Castillo. I've said that from the beginning, and that was before the trades that I made that video, because I felt like, and like I said, when these signings happened, the first thing went to my mind, McNeil is very expendable now and can be in a package. The same thing with Dominic Smith. Once again, I would even put Mauricio in that deal, and the reason why, check it out in the video. There's many reasons, but the big reason why I give Mauricio in that deal is because, well, it's very simple. There's nowhere to play him. And you're wasting him in the minor leagues. His value is high. Use him to your advantage. Get a guy you can slot into your number 2 spot in the rotation, and then you don't have to spend $160 million on Gausman, who is a question mark. Let's be honest. I'd rather give a lot of money to Stroman knowing that he can pitch in New York. We don't know if these guys can. Gausman pitched in San Francisco. Let's be honest. There ain't a big news media there. The same thing with Robbie Ray. He was in Toronto. So I would be careful to give a lot of money to a guy that you're not 100% sure can pitch in New York. Stroman can. Even though I've been critical of Stroman, I know probably somebody in the comments probably say, hey, Rob, why would you want Stroman when you criticize him throughout the whole year? I criticize him because I don't think that his attitude works all the time, and it kind of messes with the flow. He gets into it with the fans. Who knows what happened in the clubhouse with a lot of the guys, because there was different cliques that we talked about during the season. The J.D. Davis, McNeil, and Alonso, and the Lindor, Stroman, Baez, and VR. It was weird. It was very weird. But if the Mets are going to spend on a starter, why not let it be Max Scherzer? Give him a short deal worth a lot of damn money. I'm not going to give you all my secrets away, because I am doing a video tomorrow that I'm actually editing now that I'm going to post tomorrow, and to give you a number, amount of years, and annual value of that deal per year. And I think it would be very intriguing for Max Scherzer, and like, maybe I should come to the East Coast and wear these colors, But Max Scherzer, man, if the Mets can get Max Scherzer, oh boy. Jose, Corey Seager, I think it's probably the Yankees, the Dodgers, and maybe Texas that will go hard after Seager. I don't think the Mets are after Seager. I don't think it's smart to get Seager anyway. Travis, yep. What a night for our Mets, absolutely. Nelson, exactly. They're all expendable. I said that in my video when I said in one of my videos, 5 Mets that possibly not coming back in 2022. Those 3 guys on your screen right now, Dom, JD, and McNeil, are all expendable at this point. And it's a smart, these guys, you're not going to keep Dom, JD, and McNeil after these 3 signs. You're going to keep all of them. It doesn't make sense. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense. And let's be honest, Jeff McNeil really doesn't have a spot anymore, because the Mets are going to make another signing if that's Bryant or Baez, and one of them are going to play second or third base. And that's the end of Jeff McNeil. So why not? There's going to be look over the last couple of years. Every team wanted McNeil. The Mariners wanted McNeil. The Cubs wanted McNeil. There was so many teams that were trying to trade with the Mets, or the Mets were trying to trade with them, that asked for Jeff McNeil, and Dom Smith for that matter, but preferably Jeff McNeil. Remember, he was supposed to be in that deal that sent Cano and Diaz to New York. So that's what I'm saying when it comes to the JD Davis, McNeil, and Dominic Smith are expendable, and you might as well use those assets because there is teams, and it's not just about value of how well they played that is going to get a lot of teams excited. It's the amount of years under contract these guys still have left. That is very enticing for a team who's rebuilding, like the Reds. If the Reds are looking to get rid of Castillo, they're clearly not contending for anything over the next year or two. So what are they looking for? They're looking for controllable pieces that they can either put in their minor league system or put up in the major leagues. They don't have to worry about spending 20, 30, 40 million dollars on a player when these guys still have 2 or 3 years left on their rookie deal. And it just makes sense for teams like that, like Castillo. If you want to talk about other, Oakland, for example, who are basically always looking to shed money. And, you get one, or Cleveland for that matter. I think Cleveland's a very interesting team to look at as well for pitching. So there's a lot of options. As I said, it seems like the Mets are in on Gausman and Scherzer. I will like them to lean away from Gausman and focus on Scherzer and make a big-time trade for Luis Castillo. Now, you make them deals. You get Scherzer, you trade for Castillo. You got DeGrom, Scherzer, or Castillo, whichever way you want to put it. I'll put it this way: DeGrom, Castillo, Scherzer, Walker or Carrasco, and Walker. And then Tyler McGill can be an option out of the bullpen as a long man, or a guy who needs a spot start here and there to give a guy a day rest, or for injury purposes, because you always need about 7 or 8 pitches to get through the year. Let me check the comments one more time, guys. Edwin wants to keep Dom. I think they're going to keep one of them, maybe 2, but one's going to stay. And honestly, like I said, in my 5 Mets that are possibly not coming back in 2022, I put JD Davis as the one that might stay over McNeil and Dominic Smith. And the reason why I say that is because with the bat, I think JD Davis has the biggest potential with the bat, power-wise and average-wise, because in 2019, he was a 290 hitter. And he did hit 300 last year, but he was hurt a lot. If his wrist is fine, he can hit 25 home runs and bat 280, JD Davis. And Dominic Smith, I don't know. He had that great 60-game season, but you have to take that 60-game season with a grain of salt, guys. And it seemed like the pitchers figured out how to pitch to Dominic Smith, and Dominic Smith never adjusted. JD Davis proved over the course of a year and a half that he can hit. And when they adjusted to him, he adjusted to the pitching. So that's why I think JD Davis is possibly because of that DH. But again, Dominic Smith is an option. The Mets like Dominic Smith. JD Davis over the years defensively fell out of favor with the Mets. But that bat is very intriguing. Jonathan, what's up, man? How you been? Hey, you show up for some good times. I'm actually smiling. Usually I'm preaching negativity. But it's positive because you know what? We knew what Billy Epler can do, right? We talked about it in the live stream. I think it was 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. Billy Epler knows how to build a lineup. He can build a lineup. There's no doubt about it. He's already proven it already with the 3 signings on Friday. No doubt about it. My big concern is because we never seen it with the Angels was pitching. He had a problem putting together a good starting rotation. You can't really, figure out injuries, But at the end of the day, he did not make good moves to make the Angels rotation better. He just didn't do a good job. And the bullpen as well wasn't great. So Epler is a lineup builder. There's no doubt about that. He did that with the Angels. He's doing it now with the Mets. But let's hope that he learned from his mistakes and figured out with the team that he has with the Mets now, can he figure out to put a rotation behind Jacob deGrom? Because if Jacob deGrom is healthy and you get the guys that I told you, or even if you sign one of the guys, pick your guy. If you want Stroman, you want Gausman, you want Robbie Ray, Castillo, any of those guys are solid enough to put behind Jacob deGrom. And then you push back everybody. You push back Walker. You push back Carrasco. Tyler McGill can go into the rotation. And you get some guys maybe on a minor league deal or a major league deal or invite the spring training who can be a 7th or 8th starter if we need them. So I think it's smart that the Mets use the money, as I said, spend money on free agency with position players and use your assets that you do have to make a trade or put a package together to get Luis Castillo. Because there is no doubt, because honestly, I don't know what the Braves are going to do, but let's be honest, the Braves, they're coming off a World Series. You always get that World Series hangover. So I don't know if the Braves are going to be back to where they were in 2021. Washington is not going to be good. The Marlins can be, but their pitching is good, so they're a pain in the ass to the Mets and everybody else in the NL East. I don't know about Philadelphia. They seem like, they got the MVP this year in Harper, but they didn't even make the playoffs. So what do you expect of them? It doesn't seem like they're going to be making a really big move. They might try to help the bullpen a little bit, but let's be honest. The Mets are primed to take over the NL East. There's no doubt about it. And I don't think any team can do what the Mets can do and have a better roster in 2022 than the Mets. There's no doubt about it. The Mets have enough holes where the Mets can do anything they want, sign anybody they want, trade anybody they want to get somebody. That's what the Mets can do. And let's be honest, the NL East wasn't good last year before the Braves took off in the second half. And the Mets were in first place for 3 months with a team that didn't have Jacob deGrom for the remainder of the second half with all the injuries, with the bench mob coming in and hanging on to the NL East. So if the Mets can hold on for 3 months in the NL East with the team last year, adding Escobar and Marte alone and Cahna already is better than what we had last year. So even if you just look at that, it's like, okay, this team is better. Get us a pitcher, and now we're talking. At least that's what I think, guys. Mothman, how about McNeil to the Red Sox? Who are you thinking? McNeil. What would the Red Sox give the Mets? I'm curious. That's an interesting one, though. That is very interesting, though. I didn't think of that with the Red Sox, but that is interesting. Mothman, if you want to say what you think with the trade with McNeil, you're free to. All three, that would be nice. But honestly, I don't know. Why not? Right? We got the money. Wow, it's weird saying that, right? We got the money, but hey, we spent $124 million on solid players, and these are not even the big guys yet. Even though the Mets got the best center fielder on the market, they overpaid for Marte. Absolutely, they overpaid because Marte's projected contract was 4 years, $68 million. So they paid $10 million more over market value. But the Mets wanted him; they got their guy. That's all I asked for. I don't ask for anything else. If the Mets fall in their face and these players don't perform or the Mets don't play well, at least I know the Mets wanted that guy and they got him. You can't ask for more than that as a fan because you never know how any player that you sign or trade for is going to perform in any market. So you're happy with the deal and the signings because it's something that the Mets usually don't do. Let's be honest. If this was the Wilpon era, these might be the only signings they make, and they'll get like middle of the road starting pitching for a couple of $1 million, and then we would have to bash our way to an NL East. But again, why would Cohen and the Mets make these solid moves and not make another big signing or two to solidify this team? Because let's be honest, guys, if the Mets sign either Bryant or Baez, just one of them, there is no room for JD Davis or Jeff McNeil on this team. It's hard to think unless you leave JD Davis again. McNeil is not going to be on the bench. He's going to bitch and moan just like he bitched and moaned about defensive positioning last year. He is not going to be a guy to sit on the bench and get a spot start here and there and a pinch hit appearance here and there. He's not gonna want that. McNeil would rather ask for a trade, honestly. JD Davis, I can see him wanting to be a part of this Mets team and wouldn't mind coming off the bench, making his spot start here and there, getting a big pinch hit assignment late in the game. So it makes sense if the Mets get one of those guys, that those guys are expendable, but Jeff McNeil, again, is the most expendable, in my opinion. Let's see. Dom is the worst of the three. Hansel, I wouldn't say that. Defensively, JD Davis is the worst. But Dominic Smith is a not too distant second. But once again, I think JD Davis, out of those three, can be the best DH out of all three of them. I don't know what happened to McNeil offensively. Can he find it again to be that 300 hitter? Maybe, but I don't think it's going to be with the Mets. I'm telling you, I wouldn't throw away JD Davis yet. I'm sorry, guys. I really think JD Davis, when he's healthy, be a guy that can hit 25 home runs, knocking 70, 80 RBIs, and bat 300 or 280 or 290. I think JD Davis can do that, and he's a perfect DH. He's just a perfect DH. Frankie, how you doing? Frankie, 7 years, 200 million. Who you take, Brian or Baez? To me, easy answer, Frankie. 7 years, 200 million, Brian, 100%. And the reason why is because that $200 million can go a lot further with Bryant than it can with Baez. I feel like Baez is still a question mark when it comes to plate discipline and striking out. I don't think the Mets need that. I think they need a more of a professional at bat that Bryant can give, who will put up numbers like the back of his baseball card on an every year type basis. And not only that, that $200 million can go a long way because he can play anywhere. Baez, obviously, he can play shortstop, he can play second, he can play third, but you can give anybody on the infield or outfield a day off and put Bryant in that spot. You want to give Nimmo a day off in right field? Boom, Bryant can play right field. You want to give Cahna or Dom Smith a day off in left field? Boom, Bryant can play left field. You want to give Baez a day off? He had a little bit of issue with his foot? Fine. Escobar to second base? Boom, Chris Bryant to third base. You want to give Francisco Lindor a day off? Good. Baez plays shortstop, Escobar at second, Bryant at third. There's combinations with Bryant that we can use that is worth that $200 million over 7 years. And hey, you get rid of Dom Smith in the trade, you got Cahna as your outfield / first base utility guy. You want to give Pete Alonso a day off? He played 10 games straight. Give him a day off. Boom, Bryant can play first base. You don't want Pete Alonso's bat out of the lineup. Boom, DH, guys. We have options. No matter what the Mets do, you want to get Baez? You got options with Baez. You want Bryant? You got a ton of options with Bryant. Even right now, with the signings they made, Cahna can play any position in the outfield. Marte can play any position in the outfield. So you have options to move guys around to give the guys days off. And Escobar can play second and third very well. That can also give the guys days off when needed. So you see what the Mets are doing here. They want versatility. They want options. And it's just that simple, guys. Stoney, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, Christian. Philly was a finalist, and the Marlins were actually one of the last teams in on Marte, but the Mets took it right from under them, and I love that. Ooh. When you can take a guy from a division rival, that's great. You know, like the Phillies did with Wheeler. You know, honestly, Markman, you know, when you talked about McNeil to Boston, I knew you were gonna come with like a really, really good uh trade idea. I mean, if you got one, bring it on. Let's go. I can't really think of anything. You know, Boston's not gonna get rid of Devers, not Bogarts. Honestly, I don't know who the Mets will want. You know, it's not like they have Boston has a lot of pitching the Mets can use. I mean, it's intriguing, but there ain't really nobody the Mets can trade McNeil for, honestly. Excuse me. Mothman, rumor is Mets offered Max a used contract. Now it's a waiting game. I haven't been looking at my phone, but if that's true, goody goody. We get Christmas before Christmas. It's great. Let me just check really quick, guys. Let's see. What do we got here? Just give me a second, guys. Sorry for the silence. Let's see. Mothman, where did you see that? About Max? Unless I'm just not seeing. I got so much crap on. Oh, hold on. We got Michael Barron talking about Baez. Let's see. I don't see nothing on Twitter yet, but again, we follow so many people nowadays. Who the hell knows? But you might, Mothman, you might be right, buddy. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see that much yet on Scherzer, but again, guys, there's so much rumors going around, and somebody put up a potential lineup with just the plays we have right now. It's very interesting, actually. I guess I can tell you guys, right? All right. So if you can see the offer that he gave you, we can go with that. I wouldn't say JD Davis has more versatility. He's a third baseman. That's not very good, but he can be an everyday DH. Yeah, Gaussman seemed like he's going to sign in the next 48 hours. Uh, La Potencia. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, exactly. With Scherzer as well. Like I said, if I have to choose between Gaussman and Scherzer, Scherzer all the way. La Potencia. I love that. Bring me back to 2015. Angel, in the description below, Angel, I have a video about Luis Castillo that includes McNeil in a trade to get Luis Castillo. Check that out. I'm telling you right now, you read my mind, but you can check it out exactly what type of deal I have in there. Now, obviously, I put Kyle Farmer, who's the third baseman on the Reds, in there as well. He played second base as well. Obviously, Farmer's not going to be in that deal anymore because of Escobar. But it's still intriguing. You can get Luis Castillo, put McNeil in the deal with Ronnie Mauricio. You got yourself a number 2 starter. Jonathan, what do I think about the CBA lockout? I think we're going to lock out, honestly. I think we're going to not have any baseball activity for at least until after the New Year's, honestly, if they don't come up to some type of agreement. And let's be honest, guys, we saw what happened during the pandemic when these two sides are going at it. They're not friends. It's that simple. And there's a reason why the players are rushing to sign these deals as quickly as possible because they don't want to be in limbo late in January, closer to spring training, and not have a destination for themselves. So I think there's not going to be no baseball activity from December 3rd all the way until after the New Year. So a full month, maybe a little bit more. So that sucks for us. But there's not a lot of content to do. But probably have a lot of information coming out on both sides, the player side and the owner side, about what they want, all types of bargaining chips that they're going to use. Obviously, the owners didn't want to put the DH in 2021 because they wanted to use that as a bargaining chip for the CBA to use against the players. So, hey, it's unfortunate, but again, when you have unions, stuff like this happens, guys. Mike, I agree. He had a good year and a half. I would say close to 2 years good, but I can't trust the guy. Like I said, if all the free agents on the market pitching wise, Stroman, Robbie Ray, Gausman, Scherzer, if you're gonna give somebody big time money, not years, I'm not talking about years, but big time money per year, I would give Scherzer $30+ million, maybe more, for a 2 or 3 year deal, give or take. Because I trust him. I know he'll go out there every day. He'll put his heart on the mound every day. He'll give everything he's got every time he's on the mound. There's nothing better than that. And he's still very good. But again, we saw what happened with him in the Dodgers. He had this arm fatigue. He got injured a little bit. But again, guys, there's got to be some risk when you sign free agents. There's a risk with Marte. Marte has been injury prone in his career. So giving a 4-year deal to a 33-year-old, or will be 33 when he hits spring training with the Mets, there's always putting the guy who's 33 years old in center field and expect him to play 150 games, because he's not. Let's hope and let's pray to God that he can play 130 games. If he can give me 130 games, I'll take it. Honestly, I think that's what you have to do. I don't want Clint Frazier, guys. I don't think he's made for he's got the attitude for New York, but I think he got the concussion issues now. I don't trust the fact that you can bring in. I mean, he's not going to start, and that's, I think, his biggest issue. I mean, the Yankees gave him the starting role for like a week, and then took him out of the lineup. So it's not something that you can get Frazier and be like, all right, he could be a role player. Spot starts here and there, pinch hit him every now and then. He wasn't that guy with the Yankees. He couldn't perform in that situation. You can't get Frazier and put him in that situation now, unless you sign Frazier for a decent. It's not going to be a expensive deal, and put him in left field and see what he can do. I don't know. I think it's a little risky, but low risk, high reward situation, because he's not going to cost a lot of money. Stoney, yeah. The rumors have been that Baez, whatever team gives him a contract, or it seems like the highest contract, he would go back to the Mets for them to match it. So the Mets are not going to lose out unless they don't want to pay him that amount. So it seems, what the rumors have been saying, that the Mets and the Baez are apart on money. So that means somebody gave Baez a contract that Baez took back to the Mets. And I think Baez and the Mets are playing chicken right now, back and forth. Be like, we're giving you this. If you're not going to take that, go elsewhere. Because I think the Mets are in a good spot. They're not desperate for Javier Baez anymore, because they can always pivot to Chris Bryant. So they have options. So they're not desperate. Baez isn't really desperate either, because he's going to get a big time contract. But if he really wants to be with the Mets, he's got to take a little bit of a discount. If he doesn't, well, the Mets pivot to Chris Bryant, and Baez plays elsewhere without playing with his best friend in Lindor. It's just that simple. I don't know if you guys saw a tweet with Nito, who deleted it, by the way, with the Puerto Rican flag, and everybody got excited about Baez, or anybody else who was Puerto Rican, Correa, something like that. People got excited. But like I said, guys, over the next 24 to 48 hours, by the end of the week, I wouldn't be surprised you see another big time signing from the Mets or trade for that matter. Baez, Bryant, Castillo, Scherzer. But I wouldn't be surprised by Friday, or I'm sorry, today's Saturday. Jeez, I'm all messed up with days. By the end of probably maybe Monday or Tuesday, be very interesting to see if the Mets can make one more big move that can make us happy during the lockout. Unfortunately, that's a lot to ask for. Again, I don't think they're gonna sign Gaussman and Max Scherzer. I think it's gonna be one of the two. But again, if you get Scherzer, I think you would still probably have to make a trade to get Castillo, and that's a solid rotation right there. Because you're probably going to sign Max for 2, maybe 3 years. It might be a club option for the third year, but I don't know, man. That's rough. But that's a lot. Listen. If I had my wish, I wouldn't mind that. I'd be happy with that. But Bryant and Baez is a little much, especially Escobar's in the fold now, so I don't know where you're gonna play everybody unless you can put Baez at second, you can put Bryant in the outfield. I guess that's what you're thinking, but that's a lot. Christian, he wasn't traded to the Padres. Oh yeah, to the Mariners, exactly. Yeah, that's a good deal for the Mariners, by the way. I don't know what they gave up. I saw that on Twitter, but I didn't know what they gave up. But it's probably a lot. Frazier's a really good player, and he's got a few years left on his contract. Stoney says Gaussman and Baez. I guess I'll be happy with that. Maybe. But I'm not excited about that, honestly. But again, you see what the Mets are doing here. They're signing guys that doesn't have a qualifying offer tag because that's when they have to give up a draft pick. So anybody who has a draft pick, they're probably not going to go after. And it makes sense. I don't see, the Mets got the 14th pick. So I wouldn't want to do that because you can get a really solid, really good prospect from college with that pick. So you just have to keep that pick and worry about guys that you can sign. There's enough of them out there that didn't get a qualifying offer. You don't have to worry about that draft pick. Ooh, wouldn't that look like a nice, nice, nice Christmas present under the tree? DeGrom, Scherzer, Castillo, Walker, and Cookie Carrasco. Let's go. And that gives you Tyler McGill as a sixth guy. Who knows about David Peterson? You have options. You already got 7 starters already, and that's your depth so far. Not including what else the Mets could do. They're bringing another back in the rotation type of guy. Mothman trade market as well. Like I said, I think it was smart for the Mets to use their big pockets with all that money on position players and sign one of those big free agents starting pitching and make a trade for Luis Castillo. That's the offseason. I'd be happy. Get a Baez or Bryant. I'm sold. I'm ready to go. I can sit back, whip my feet up, relax, wait till open or spring training, which I am going to, by the way, with the 7 line. That's always fun. So expect a lot of videos and live streams from Port St. Lucie. And also, I know a lot of you guys follow Hayden as well. I know Hayden he also bought tickets with the 7 line, so we're probably gonna do a little collaboration in Port St. Lucie, probably at the game in our hotel room, in the hotel room as well, doing a little bit of live streams so we can hang out with you guys in Port St. Lucie. Well, you know what? Mike, that's a good point with Suzuki. I like Suzuki. I think he could be, but he still be. I think Suzuki is is still an option. Bryant and Suzuki are still options. Honestly. Because, I mean, really think about it. Right now, the Mets can fill a left field spot or right field spot or a second base spot or a third base spot. And every one of their spots that they would need to fill, or one of them, they were all available. The Mets just have to get them. It's that simple. The Mets like, all right, I think it's important to get us a left fielder. Sign Suzuki, right? The Mets like, you know what? I really like Suzuki. Escobar at second base. Sign Bryant. A lot of options. And that's why I really like this offseason, because the way it's looking, the Mets have so many different ways and options to go. You know, it's like going in a fork in the road, and there's like 10 different forks. Either one leads to something good. It's just a matter of which one you're going to choose and pick. And the Mets usually don't have those options. You know, the Mets are usually at the dollar store in years past. Now, we're shopping at Costco, wholesaling. The Mets went wholesale on Friday. They were like, what? We're going to be front page news or back page news, whatever you want to call it. That's what the Mets did. And it shows Billy Epler can develop a lineup, put together a great lineup, which he already started. But can he do the one thing he couldn't do with the Angels? And that was build a pitching staff. If he can do that, the Mets are dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about it. Jonathan, which signing are you disappointed with the most? I could have done without Cahna, honestly. You know, you did give him what, $13 million, right? That's about a little over $13 million. I mean, I could have done without that. You could use the $26 million elsewhere, or added that money to get a big time pitcher or two. But I don't really dislike any or be disappointed in it. It's a decent move, knowing that he could play anywhere in the outfield and first base as well. So, he's not going to be a world beater. He's not going to bring a Mets a world championship on his own. He's not going to put the team on his shoulders. But he is what he is. He's a guy who can hit for power, knocking 50, 60 RBIs. He batted 230 last year, so I guess you can say he can bat 230 to 250. Let's be honest, he's Dominic Smith, just better defensively. So I'm not going to go crazy over it, and he's a right-handed bat, which, let's be honest, right now we got two switch hitters because Escobar and Lindor are switch hitters. So you got two switch hitters. You got left righties in this lineup, which for years I spoke about the Mets being too left-handed all the time with McNeil, Smith, Nimmo, on and on and on, Conforto, all those guys. So at least now we're a little bit more balanced. Like, how many lefties right now, if you don't count Dom Smith, or let's put Dominic Smith as the DH, right? We got, let me type this in so you guys can see. So we don't have to remember everything. So we got, I would say, all right, let's see here. Give me a second, guys. Let's see. Trying to think of a lineup here that is worth looking at so we can talk about it. Marte, Nimmo. Yeah. Let's see. Interesting. I'm trying to think right now because it's a little iffy. Trying to think of a decent lineup we can do here. All right, let's see. All right. I'm trying to think here, guys. Sorry about that. It's interesting. Can't really see. The interesting thing is Marte, with all the stolen bases he had. Well, let me just put everybody. This ain't the lineup, but I'm just putting everybody that's on the team right now, so we have an idea. Let's see. I'm gonna put as if we sign Baez. So we'll put Baez and okay, so I can do it this way. Sorry, guys, trying to figure things out here. See, the thing what gets me is that Lindor has got to be in like the maybe the 2 hole, and I like Nimmo in the 2 hole and put Marte lead off. But I guess we could do it this way. Let's do it that way. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to figure this one out here. All right, let's do this. All right, let's see. Trying to think here, guys. Sorry. Oh, right. Alrighty, who am I missing here? I'm trying to figure out who I missed. Confusing me over here. I'm confusing myself over here. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to figure everything. I know a lot of the comments are flying in. Who am I missing? Got second base. Oh, okay. Second base, third base, first base, shortstop. Oh, hello. All right, there we go. I got it. All right, so here we go. All right, guys. So this is what I'm thinking. If the Mets sign Baez and that's it for the lineup, Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso, Marte, Baez, Escobar, Cahna, McCann. It's not too bad. You know, it's really not bad at all. You can mix and match. Some days you might want to put Marte. Marte isn't really a power hitter, so I like him in the leadoff spot. So would you want to bring back Lindor to the 3 spot? You see, it's hard with that. I see Fernando is going crazy. You don't like the signings. Plummer, he can be a utility guy. He can be that bench player that can play the outfield. Be a fourth outfielder. Why not, right? He can be that Pilar type of situation. We still have to, you know, I don't know if VR is going to be back on this team, but that's a JD Davis type that can be on this team. So I missed a lot of comments here. Very true, Kendrick. Very true. Yeah, Escobar is an all star. He's not bad. I'm gonna check his stats really quick. Let's see. All right, here we go, guys. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Eduardo Escobar last year, he had 28 home runs and batted 253. And how many RBIs did he have? Let's see. He had 90 RBIs. So he had 28 home runs and 80 RBIs. And he batted 250. I mean, that's solid. There weren't a lot of Mets on this team that did that. This guy can hit 25 home, and he didn't play in small ballparks. He played in Milwaukee and Arizona. So they're big ballparks. So, give me 25 home runs, bat 250, knocking 80 RBIs. I'm happy. Jonathan, it's interesting about the manager thing. Honestly, look, the Mets are getting veteran players here. There's no doubt about it. They want a veteran professional team that is good in the clubhouse. It's that simple. You're not bringing in guys who are malcontent, who's a pain in the ass. Baez might be, Stroman might be, But you see what the Mets are doing here. High character guys who go out there every day, play, don't give a lot of lip, just go out there and play every day, and that's what the Mets got to do. And that's what they've been doing. So there's been a lot of rumblings that the Mets should give Beltran a chance. I don't want another first-year manager. I don't care if it's Beltran. He might be a great manager, but the Mets can't be willing to have a guy be their manager learning on the job. Now, you can get all the experienced coaches you want around him. That at the end of the day, Beltran makes the final decision. I want a guy who's experienced, who knows what he's doing, makes the decision that he wants to make, and go from there. I want Buck Showalter. Well, I don't see why it's so hard. Buck Showalter is the guy. He would be perfect for this team. This is not a young team that he has to mold. All of these players that the Mets have at the moment are all guys that been around the corner. They're veterans. At this point, Alonso is basically a veteran. Going into his fourth year, basically. So it makes sense to bring a manager with experience because these guys can take a little bit of lip from the manager who's a little bit harder on them. But let's be honest, everywhere Buck Showalter has been, he's made the team better. You know, he got screwed with the Yankees because if Joe Torre never got hired and Buck Showalter was still around, the Yankees would have won all those world championships anyway because they were that good. Buck Showalter made the Orioles into playoff contenders every year. Showalter is the guy. And I think it's a smart move. You know, people talked. There was rumors about Brad Ausmus because he is close with Billy Epler. He's not a rookie manager. You know, but again, would I be excited? No. I wouldn't be as nervous as Beltran being hiring. I'd be more. Put it this way, I would be more nervous if Beltran got the job than I did with Ausmus because at least I know Ausmus has been around the corner. He's been in the dugout as a manager, so at least he has that experience. You know, Beltran, as soon as he comes in, is going to get all the questions about the cheating scandal and why he was fired and everything like that. I don't want that to be the story when Beltran comes in. So I'd rather just go a different route for that type of circumstance. You know, everybody's like, Beltran would be better. Why would he be better? Because he was a good player? That don't mean nothing. Honestly, guys, like, you know, you can't risk getting another manager that has no experience. It's a dangerous game you're playing because if you end up with a situation where you hire Beltran and he ends up being as bad as Rojas was, or even if a little better, but still on the level of Rojas, now what? I don't want David Ryan. David Ryan's never going to manage. There's a lot of players that can relate to the players. Brad Ausmus was a player. You know, I don't know. You know, usually superstars in the game are usually not good when it comes to coaching. But again, there's always that one little guy that is great. It could be Beltran. You know, I think it's too much of a risk for the Mets to take, honestly. That might be the route they go. But I don't think that's a smart move. Especially when you bring in a veteran team. You know, you don't need a manager that doesn't know what he's doing. You know, just because Beltran was a good player and he can relate to players doesn't mean he can manage a baseball team. You know, does he know what to do with a bullpen? Does he know when to take out a starter? When to put in the right bullpen piece? We've seen that time and time again with new managers. They struggle to do that rather good. And that's a bigger problem to me than I would worry about. Espada, Mike, that's a good call as well. Joe Espada is actually a good call as well. But he also would be a first-time manager, even though he's been a bench coach. He's been, you know, third first base coach. A lot of people have respect for Espada. That's not a bad call. But you know what? I think it's between three guys. Buck Showalter, Brad Ausmus, and Carlos Beltran. You could put Joe Espada in there as well as a fourth, but the Mets got to get it going. But you got to remember, the Mets can hire a manager during the lockout because coaching staff and management is not part of the collective bargaining agreement. That has nothing to do with the negotiations. So the Mets can get a manager during this lockout, if and when there is one. So all right, let's see, guys. What else are we thinking here? Exactly. Like I said, some people said Buck Showalter, you know, had the years pass by him, analytics and all that stuff. Let's be honest, guys. Tony La Russa is very, very probably more old school than Buck Showalter. And look what he did with the White Sox. He had a little bit of a hard time with them in the beginning, but when they all bought in, that team was good. They didn't get as far as they did in the playoffs as they probably wanted to, but they got past the hurdle. They got to the playoffs. That's a good first step. And that's a younger team than the Mets would have, actually. So if Tony La Russa can do that with a younger team than the Mets have now, there's no reason why Buck Showalter can't do that. Yeah, exactly, Christian. He got a lot of ties, especially to Estrada and Buck. When Buck Showalter was the manager of the Yankees, Epler was around. So, Buck Showalter was in the organization with Epler at the time as well. They were around in the organization at that time. Epler was at very, very, really low on the totem pole as with the Yankees organization, but he has ties with them. Estrada, the same thing. Ausmus, he hired Ausmus with the Angels. So I feel like Ausmus is the favorite behind number 2 Buck, and Estrada, Farrell, Beltran, etc. Fernando, this team is not trash. They're better than they were 48 hours ago, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt at all. I don't know about that. I would complain more about the pitching than I would the lineup. This lineup got professional players. You don't have Dominic Smith, Jeff McNeil, and JD Davis shitting up the place all year. And they constantly just not performing at the plate, which killed this team. You got a professional team player in Escobar who can bat 250, 260, hit 25 to 30 home runs, 80 RBIs. Marte, the same thing. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs because he's not that type of hitter. He'll hit you 300, hit you 15 home runs, steal 30 to 35 bases, knock in 60 RBIs, give you great defense at center field. It's just not bad. Now you got to remember, they're not done. These are solid moves. There's going to be another big time move. Baez and Bryant, one of them is going to be a Met. Just a matter of who. Fernando, if you look at Escobar over his career, he hit between 20 and 30 home runs almost every year in his career. I'll put it up right now. All right, so let's see. Here we go. So from 2017, right, that's when he really started to get going in his career. 21 home runs, 23 home runs, 24 home runs, 35 home runs. In 2020, he only had 4. All-Star, 28 home runs. So a lot of the years, now he played for a lot of different teams. Actually, in 2018, he hit a lot of freaking home runs. In 2018, he hit, wow, that is a lot. Let's see. He hit 40 home runs in 2018. 2019, he hit 35 home runs. 2020 only 4, but let's be honest with 2020 with the pandemic, and 28 home runs in 2021. You're going to get at least 20, between 20 and 30 home runs. And let's be honest, you're not looking for him to be the big power bat in this lineup. That's why you got Alonso for, right? That's why you have him for. You got Lindor for that as well. So, depending on Baez or Bryant, you got popping those backs as well. So, we shall see, guys. We shall see. So, guys, today was fun. We had a lot of discussion, a lot of players. Everything we needed to talk about was talked about. It was a lot of fun, guys. I really do hope, guys, you come back next time. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I really do appreciate it. To all the support you're getting in the coming days, guys. I got exciting news for the channel that everybody wants to look out for. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I will. I will give you the details in a video in about 2 or 3 days. I'm just setting up everything, everything ready to go. When I do that, I will post a video. I will post a short about it, and you guys hopefully will be continuing to support and see how much this channel will grow. In 1 year, over 1,200 subscribers, guys. I really do appreciate it. I couldn't have done it without any of you guys. The guys who were here from day one, you guys know who you are. You guys know I appreciate it. Always with the support. When I talk about great news with the channel and what I'm going to expand on the channel, it's going to include so many things that you guys want to be involved. So make sure you look out for that in the coming days, guys. I really do appreciate it, guys. Mets signed 3 players on Friday within 6 hours. You know the guys. Starling Marte, 4 years, $78 million. Eduardo Escobar, 2 years, $20 million. Cahna, 2 years, $26.5 million. Those are your 3 guys. Solid signings by Kepler and the Mets. And we are going to see what the Mets do next. Once again, guys, please hit on that like button. Hit on that subscribe button, guys. I'll see you on Tuesday. Mets Hot Stove Live right here on the channel. Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Don't forget to tune in, guys, on Tuesday. I'll see you guys next time. If there's another breaking news, another signing or a big trade, I will go live again, guys. But if not, Tuesday, 5 p.m., Mets Hot Stove Live. Tune in next time, guys. Thank you for tuning in. See you guys next time. Enjoy. Put a smile on your face, guys. The Mets made some good moves to make this team better. See you next time. As always, Mets fans, let's go Mets. Have a good night, guys.